My name is Matthew Sims. I'm here to receive stem cell treatment for my diagnosis, which is Septo Optic Dysplasia, which is basically my optic nerves aren't fully developed. And I'm hoping to get out of this whole thing, but improved vision to where I could, or possibly be able to get a driver's license down the road, hopefully.
I'm Diana Sims, Matthew's mom. Treatment has been for his optic nerve hypoplasia with his diagnosis of SOD.
SOD is Septo Optic Dysplasia. It involves the optic nerve, and it can involve the brainstem and the pituitary gland. A lot of children who are born with it have real severe symptoms, from seizures to total blindness to motor skill problems to digestive problems. For Matthew was diagnosed at the age of 4 with Septo Optic Dysplasia. For him, it only involves his vision, really. There are some minor other issues, such as learning disabilities he struggled with, comprehension for math he struggles with, motor skills when he was younger, putting it together, walking. Sometimes he was a little, it's like he couldn't keep his balance, equilibrium was off. But he grew out of that pretty much. He had some sensitivity to feeling. When he was a child, he had to have his shoes tied 10, 15 times so they would feel like yesterday's tied shoes. Until we worked through that as he got older. Those kinds of issues were all part of the Septo Optic Dysplasia, but minor in what I've learned over the years that other children can have.
My name is Chris Sims from Lyons, Colorado, and I'm here to support my son, who's here having stem cell treatments, bone marrow aspiration. Just want to be as supportive as I can to my family. I only am able to be here for 2 weeks, but I think we've gotten off on a very good start and have met some really wonderful people. I know Matt is experiencing a lot of different things right now, different culture, meeting different people, international people, and international doctors, and actually discovering a whole new world.
I'm 22 years old. I live on my own in my house that my parents bought me in Longmont, Colorado, and I use the local bus transportation system to get to work and around to the local shopping mall and grocery store and stuff that I live close to. And I have no problem doing that because I'm so used to it, because that's all I could do. It's not like I can go get in a car and go, or a vehicle and go drive someplace, and then be able to get back home. Because if I did that with the bus, I'd have to take the bus there, and then the buses only run till like 7 o'clock at night almost. So then I'd have to either get a ride home from a friend or walk home in the dark, and I'm a little bit leery about that because of that. Sometimes I don't see it as well at night as I do during the day, but it just depends. And sometimes I see better at night if I'm less tired, but if I'm tired at night, then it complicates how well I see at night. But I'm hoping after this whole thing that it'll get better.
For him, his optic nerves were formed about 1/3 smaller than they should have been. Obviously, he doesn't have a pituitary issue because he grew to be 6'2". So that was not an issue. For him, it's just the tip of the iceberg of this disease, or this, whatever it is, the disease that you're born with. It's something you're born with. It doesn't develop later. It is stable for him. His vision is stable. It doesn't really change, other than maybe it comes and goes a little bit with how he's feeling for the day. But I believe for him, it's been a struggle because he's caught between the sighted world and the blind world. He's not fully sighted, so he can't do all of the functioning things like we do, drive and have the freedoms of that type of thing. Watching TV is up close. He can't play the sports games. He's a very physical young man, very strong, very able to, but not able to catch the ball when it's thrown at him, so he could never play ball sports.
I am a sales associate at the Super Walmart in Walmart on Highway 66 in the pet department there, so I help sell live fish to customers and deal with all the heavy bags of dog food and cat litter and all that fun stuff. I've been there about a year. It'll be 2 years next March.
We found different things for him to do. We put him into Taekwondo. He is a black belt in Taekwondo. We tried wrestling, but he is a smooth talker, and he was going to talk his opponent into a submission versus wrestling him. So that didn't work. But so he's compensated himself for his disease, his issues. He's done really well. He was an A/B student all through school, with help from the resource room, with a visual teacher. So the disease for him is just very minimal. We feel blessed because of that. I feel blessed for him, but yet we still don't know why. Why was it him? Why was he randomly picked out of, they say 1 out of 10,000 children can be born with SOD. And they don't know why, they don't know where it comes from. It's just something about development in the womb.
Well, I have a pair of prescription distance reading glasses that I use for reading things at a distance, like signs and things like that, and they help for seeing at a distance, but up close I have closer reading glasses, or sometimes I just get within that close of being able to read things. But mainly I don't really have a problem at my work. I don't let my vision bother me or my disability stop me from being able to function like a normal person at work.
He had no really major medical treatment. They couldn't figure out what was wrong with him when he was born. They knew he wasn't seeing right, but when they looked in his eyes, his retina was working fine. It was just at the beginning of the time when they started using MRIs other than for major things, so they didn't do that until he was 4. So when he was 4 years old, they had the MRI. They determined that he did have SOD, but very mild case of it. And the only thing they did at that point was check to see if he was growing right, because the pituitary can be affected, and he was growing fine. He was already above the charts in height and normal for weight. So beyond that, there was no medical. We had to get special vision testing done so he could qualify in the school district for the special needs program. That was one medical that we had to do. We had to do that every 2 to 3 years to make sure that he hadn't suddenly gained sight. They had to prove every couple of years that he was still in the condition that he was. To look at Matthew, he looks totally normal. You wouldn't notice that he has any kind of visual issues until you see him seeing. Well, pay attention to how he's seeing things, then you'd know. As he got into his older years at school, middle school, high school, no medical conditions really that were needing to be treated or anything. He played, he ran track, cross-country track, and track, did fine. There were some courses that he couldn't run because they were too choppy or too messed up that coach would pull him off. But other than that, he ran cross-country. The only medical we had to do for that was the physical every year, the sports physical, which they never found anything else wrong with him. And
I have very mixed emotions with this whole deal, because I believe that we need to be careful about what we do, and we need to have tests proven. The studies, the double-blind studies, the tests. I know that we were starting that in our country and that we stopped it. And I believe it was basically because of the embryonic and fetal stem cell research. And we're not for that. We're against that. We don't believe in that. But we do believe in organ donation. You know, we've been a part of that in our family's history. We believe that the umbilical cord is a viable source of stem cell, and it's a donated organ. I really believe I would like to see this 100% of the time in our country. I know that it's going to cost us. I think people are willing to pay for that. The amount of benefit that you can get out of that is beyond belief. I think that a lot of our problem in our country that we don't is from greed. There's a lot of doors and barriers that are put up because of greed. I know that we need to have the proof for our scientific community. I think this is an opportunity for us that we couldn't pass up. And more people in the United States will leave for this type of procedure, and many different types of procedures, because it works. And they see that it works. And they've known for years that it works. And the cost difference, even if we could do it in our country, would be phenomenal, I'm sure. But I think in time, it'll be there. It'll have to be there, because otherwise people will just go elsewhere for medical treatment. As simple as that. And our country is failing in that point, in that this is going on elsewhere and we're not reaping benefits from this. I think this is a life-changing opportunity, and it is a pioneering field that's working. So I don't know how you can fight that.